All right, so welcome back, guys. Here's installment number 2 in welding safety crash course. Today we're going to talk about burn prevention and treatment. Burns are probably the most common injury that a welder will face. It's kind of a hazard of the job. We create heat, and heat creates burns. So we end up with lots and lots of burns. They tend to be the most common. The golden rule to avoid burns is to assume that everything in the shop metal is hot. Assume all pieces of metal are hot. Some metals do not change color when they get hot, such as aluminum, shows no visual signs at all of being hot. Steel, when it gets extremely hot, will change to cherry red or orange. However, steel does not have to be red in order to burn you. So we avoid burns by tapping on the metal. We tap it and slowly leave our fingers on it longer and longer. And once you get up to being able to leave your fingers on that metal for about 2 seconds, it's very unlikely that the metal is hot enough to burn your skin. Okay. Most of us know there are 3 types of burns out there. There's first degree, second degree, and third degree burns. First degree burns are characterized by redness of the skin, tenderness, and no broken skin. They are most commonly seen in sunburns. Welders can get sunburn from the UV light put off by welders. If you have exposed skin, the welding process puts off UV light, and if you weld too much with exposed skin, you will end up with first degree burns called welder's burns. They're very similar to sunburn, but they are a little bit more painful. Uh, First aid for this: put some cold water on it, aloe vera. No need to seek medical attention. If you feel the need, cover it up with a bandage. But they're fairly straightforward. Second degree burns are probably a little bit more common in the welding industry. They're characterized by blisters and breaks in the skin. Most of us have probably had a second degree burn at some point or another from cooking or the like. Generally, you don't want to break the blister. What you want to do is just apply some cold water, pat it dry, cover with a sterile bandage, keep the blister intact as long as you can. It's helping to protect the skin from infection and the like. Third degree burns are the worst burns. They're the most painful, require medical attention and the like. So symptoms of a third degree burn would be white or charred skin, cracks and breaks in the skin. This picture here is actually my 5-year-old son. He got burnt by a sparkler, and that sparkler laid right down on his skin and charred the skin there, the white char on the skin. And he was actually a trooper about it, but it was quite painful to begin with. As far as first aid goes, you don't want to remove clothing that's stuck to a third degree burn. You want to leave that on there. You're going to cover it with a sterile bandage, apply some cold cloth or cool water. You don't really want to put a whole lot of water on it, just kind of a damp cloth to take a little bit of the pain away, and then seek medical attention. You definitely want to go get a third degree burn looked at. Okay. You will have to be able to identify some of the concepts of the 3 types of burns, the characteristics. You should be able to identify first aid for burns. And don't forget the golden rule. The golden rule of burns to prevent them is to assume all the metal in the shop is hot. If you're going to pick up metal, make sure you tap it before you pick it up or use your pliers. Don't try to use your gloves. Your gloves will get hard and brittle and kind of ruin your gloves from picking up hot metal repeatedly. Keep your exposed skin covered to prevent burns from the welding light. Don't have any exposed skin so you don't end up with welder's burn. And you should be in pretty good shape. That concludes part 2. We'll be back for part 3, which I believe is fire prevention.